So hey to all my budgeting family. I really wanted to come and do a video. I was really trying to do another video. But listen, my kids are just always, so I didn't get to do the video. But today I'm doing the video now. I wanted to come and bring you a story time because as I have been talking about budgeting, I wanted to really connect because sometimes you can talk about concepts and you can talk about things, and sometimes it doesn't always resonate. It can seem so far-fetched and persons don't always get the point. And I wanted to share how all of these little things that would have occurred in my life led me on the path to budgeting. So let's go back. I'm not going back to the very beginning. I'm going to go back to an experience. And one of the reasons that I named the book Kingdom Budgeting, because I wanted to maintain the principle of those things that are written in the Word of God. I wanted to stay there because for me, my relationship with God and what God says is the basis on which I do anything. It's the basis on which I go forward. It's the basis on which I pause. It's the basis on which I leap out. Once He confirms it's good with Him, then that is my okay. So, myself and my husband, we were renting and we got married. I remembered when I was working prior to getting married and prior to getting myself and my husband being together, I would have done a plan for a house. And I was motivated by a lot of positive people at my then workplace. They were doing things, they were progressing, they were building their houses. They were older than me. I think they were more to the bracket of 30, late 20s, early 30s. And at that time, I think I was early mid 20s. But nevertheless, that positive affiliation really encouraged me. So everybody was doing their plan, and I was like, ooh, well, I guess what can I do? You know, it made me start to think bigger than what I would have been previously exposed to, what I was probably thinking at the moment. And I love that. And so I got my plan done. I used one of the persons who was a recommendation from one of my colleagues, and my dad, he had land, so I didn't have to buy. So I was like, okay, I can go in this direction of building a house. The plan, though, at that time, because I was working part-time, was costly. I was like, oh. So I couldn't pay for it in one go. So I had to, piece at it. When I got it done, I felt like, oh man, I'm going to get me a house. Yeah, I felt so positive about getting this house. I was real excited because you need to plan to get a house. You can't go to the bank and have no plan or anything like that to build a house. So I did that, and now I was ready to build my house, my dream house. And I started with one size. I think it was wooden to some extent, or cement board, something like that. And I did it, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And I went to my first banking institution, and I went with my dad, and I was like, okay, let's go. And I had my son at the time, so I was really motivated in providing for him. And so went to the banking institution, and they told me, no, you don't work for enough money. You don't work for enough money to build this house. And I was like, what? I was so devastated. I started to cry, all kind of things. I was like depressed. And the buddy said, but don't get disappointed. Just know you're gonna do your teacher's diploma. That's gonna come for you. And then by 30 is a good age to start building. And I'm like, what? I'm 25. 25 in my mind, 30 years old in my mind, you know. I didn't think that that was in near future. It just felt like it was so far ahead of me, out of my reach, you know. So I left feeling really down, you know. So I forgot all about that. I just left it. I had the plan, and you know, I went on life. I got married eventually. We ended up renting. I had another baby, and at some point she got sick. The area that I was living in, St. Joseph, it was plagued with water wars. I mean, there would be weeks and months that we didn't have. Listen, Christmas, we didn't have water. I was really depressed. You know, I love Christmas. We need water. I need to cook. I need to make Christmas happen. And so, you know, I was really, really, really upset about that. But with all that happening, we started to think outside the box. What else can we do? So we were thinking about buying a house, and we saw a house that we really loved, and we decided, you know, we're moving out of here. We're going to go back with our parents because in any case, we can't survive like this. You need water to eat. It's a basic necessity. We can't survive like this, so we gotta do something. I know we gotta do something. So we, mind you, this is like 4-ish years down the line, 4.5 years, 5 years, nearing 5 years down the line. After I would have done this plan, remember, like that 30 age that I thought I was old. Actually, I was even saying I was 25, but I probably was around 24 when I did the plan. Yes. So, you know, we looked for houses on Carabliss, and we found a house that we really loved. It was beautiful, and we started to pursue it, trying to figure out how we're going to get the money. I know it was like $400,000, and I know that they would have said I could afford that. But we were trying to find a way, like, how could we go about it? And it didn't work out again. But in our moving, guess what I found? I found the plan. I was like, wait, Red, check the plan. We got the plan. What is? We could go this route. You want to try this? And yes, they told us, you know, of different little things that we would need. So we had the plan already. Now we needed to do a quantity severe thing and a quality severe thing, and all the different people. I did all that they told me, because now it's possible. And then because since having my first experience with the banking institution, I received several pay increases in terms of, you know, I got my that diploma that I thought like was so far out of reach, you know, all those things that would help. And then the benefit of being married and have another income. So, you know, we went to the bank, and it was really feasible. So we did all the things. They gave us like a paper with a long list of things, and all of those things cost money. So we started to make the investments, but at least we knew that now there was something that was going to happen, and we started to, you know, a lot money here and a lot money there, and that money that we were paying for rent, we were saving now, because we made a decision that was, you know, for our financial future. So when I say inside of the book, for young persons, if you can stay at home a little longer and make those kind of sacrifices, and make sacrifices towards your financial future, these are the kind of things that I'm talking about. And stick up in here, I also talk about being surrounded by good company. If I was not surrounded by those colleagues at where I was working, I wouldn't have had that plan. So you see, God just builds everything. He puts things in pieces. We don't see the puzzle pieces. We just figure like life is happening and we are lost. But God is always building a beautiful story. I love how He does it. So, you know, we started to knock down the things on that list. And we were never wild with our money. We would always do what we're supposed to do. We don't party. We go very few times. You know, we are always responsible because we know what it is to not have anything. And then when you have children, children are expensive. So we always try to be very, mindful. So we started to spend the money to accomplish those things on the list. So then we got everything done on the list, and it was time to get the money in our mind. So we go back. We want to see what was the next step now. We go back to the bank because the bank gave us the list. They had given us a projection of how much we could afford. So they set us on this path. We went back to the bank. We sat down in front of the loans officer. She said, "You can't get this house." What? Like, we spent thousands of dollars getting this list in order. What do you mean? Like, y'all are the ones who set us on this course. Like, what? And then it's like, God, I know that you said some things to me. What happening though? How you can say yes and the loans officer can say no? Not adding up, God. So we were shocked. When we went back in the car, we were down. We were like, what? I mean, like, what do we do now? Like, what? My husband was really down. And then just this faith started to rise up in me. Okay, I'm going to pause a minute because the TV is really loud. So I'm going to pause and then I'll fix that. Okay, so resuming here. So yeah, we were feeling really down. My husband was feeling really down, and then this bolt of faith rose up in me, and I was like, but God doesn't lie though, does he? Does he? No, he doesn't. I had to believe. I had to believe the God that I serve. And I said, let's go to another branch of this same bank. No. What is going to be my resolve? Am I going to be flinchy? I got a no a couple years ago. I get another no today. So what? What am I going to do? So you have to be resolute in pursuing those things concerning your financial future and the things that God has said to you, man. When God gives you an idea, he gives it to you, and he gave it to you for a reason, because you are the person to accomplish it, man. So we went to another branch of the same bank, and I roll up in there, just want to talk to the loans officer. I said, I want to talk to the loans manager. Like, who am I? Nobody in the natural sense, but I'm God's child. And I spoke to the loans manager. I didn't even tell her my experience. I came with the things as if I was now coming for the first time. This is what I have and everything. And listen, I got through. Listen, we left there in total disbelief at God. Like, what? Sometimes certain things are just a test, and you have to be so strong in what you know and in what you believe and going after things, because life is not for the weak-hearted. If you adopt the attitude that you give up every step of the way, then you don't go far, you don't accomplish much. So we did that, and we got the yes. And I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want anybody to jinx it. I thought that persons could jinx what God said. Nobody can jinx what God said, man. Listen, God is good, God is great, and his word is final. The enemy tries to delay things, but he can't stop anything that God has said yes to. And I kept, like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want anything to now change this yes to a no. But when God says yes, yes is yes. Yes is yes. It is so his yes is so strong. There's nothing that can change it. And so we left there, and then we were set on another process. We went through all the documentation, what would be required, more documentation, salaries, went through all of that. And then we went over to the finance department, and that took a little while. And a plan in Barbados has about like 5 years before you have to redo it. and I was getting close to this 5-year mark because I needed to start. I think it would have been March. Yeah, it would have been a March, the first couple of days in March that it would have expired. And you know, all December I ain't getting the money yet. So God said yes, and now things real slow. Like, I mean, a whole year. We left the house that we were renting in November, started the process maybe in January or something like that, December, January. COVID hit, everything went gonna go slow, and all December we ain't getting no money yet. And now I only have 3 months to get this thing. And the bank called me in December. Little did I know, I got a call from a number. I called back the bank and said, well, I saw a missed call. Nobody didn't know who called me, nothing like that. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I don't know what happened, mishap. And then coming on now to latter January, the money was ready since December. But you know, it was just a miscommunication, something there, but that was the devil. And I only had a few days to save this plan. We only have a few days to save this plan. Listen, we went crazy. We had to find, you know, because there's so much things that go into building a house. So now we had to find, you know, a mason and all kind of things to get the job done, or a contractor if you go with a contractor. But we went with a mason, and who we wanted at first, things didn't work out. So now we were left stranded. And then God gave me somebody that he told me, like, this body's for the house. I know I hear God, like, you know, but then it didn't work out with that buddy. And you know, I went with someone else, and I'm so grateful for the assistance that I got then. But however things worked out, all the way down the line, now I'm back to that person who I know God said. And listen, I'm having the experience that I know God showed me. So I'm really excited about that. But all of that whole story to say, I got no's, I got delays. Man, it was not easy. We were tight with our finances, because listen, these things don't come cheap. So you gotta be like putting out thousands of dollars for one thing and the next thing, and finances were tight. But we had a goal. We had a vision that we needed some place that is our own, some place for our children to grow. And I'm happy to report that today my house isn't done, because things, you know, COVID, everything, but it's close to being finished. And I am now 30, the age that I thought was old. But God is true, and I remember something. God brought back something to my mind, that when I was about 18 or something like that, I was a teenager, I can remember I was up by a family member that I really love, Ken. And I remember just talking. I remember that I said I wanted to have my own house by 28. And you know, he encouraged that. He was like, yes, if you want to have your own house by 28, you can have it. And the structure that I had board and what's not, he also told me, change out that. You get a house that can last throughout the time. Don't look at what you can afford now, you know. So another thing is to listen to sound advice. Look for something that can last long. You want to be changing board, and you're building in an area where you're very close to the sea. You need something that's very strong. So I change out all that board. So I just wanted to stick a pin here to say that I don't intend any disrespect to anyone who has a board house. I grew up in a board house like all my life, but I tell you, all like A-double-L. So no disrespect to anyone who has a board house. It's all I knew growing up. And I also wanted to add the point of sound advice, because when I went to the same person who encouraged me to build my house and have that as a goal at 28, and when I went back at 28 with the plan, they said to me, well, don't do this, think longer. It may seem harder, but think longer. So I'm very appreciative of those kinds of outlooks. So back to the video. And I built a wall structure. Listen, to God be the glory, great things he have done. I want to tell you, when I started that process in November, I was 28. I was 28. So I started the process when I was 28. COVID and everything slowed down everything. Now I'm 30. But God did not lie. God did not lie. So this is my story time. Kingdom budgeting for women. We got to stay on the kingdom principles, man. The principles that God has set in his word are meant to propel you forward, are meant to propel me forward. When you look at Joseph and the story in the Bible, listen, I keep saying that this is a great story, a great example. This man was through the pit and Potiphar's house, and before he got the prison, or before he got to the palace, he got a no. Then he got a certain yes at Potiphar's house because he thought that he had advanced, but then he got a no again, let him down. We go through this experience in life, but God's promise of the palace is so sure. And he went through the same thing again when he goes into being, you know, the head of Egypt. And you know, then there's a famine. So I'm the head of Egypt and what's not, and the dream that I'm able to decipher is a time of famine. Like, God, I get here now where you tell me it was going to get, but the circumstances are circumstances of like a famine and thing. Like, how you Lord looking out to party? Nah, but regardless, God worked it out for his benefit, to the benefit of his family, to the benefit of his people. And that's how God wants to do things in your life and my life. So I've been rambling on a long time. Kingdom budgeting for women. I've launched my budgeter on my website, www.houseofeliwedding.com. Go to that shop page. I want you to hit that kingdom budgeter and start organizing your finances. Start putting some money there to invest in yourself. Have a goal of maybe it's going to be a house, maybe it's going to be a car, maybe it is, you know, it doesn't have to start big, but something that is going to give you a sound future. Don't waste all your money. Don't spend all your money eating fast food. Listen, you don't want to look like not that I'm spending all my money eating fast food, but we all could do better. So Kingdom Budgeting for Women is available on Amazon. It's available locally in Barbados if you are from Barbados, and the Kingdom Budgeter on my website, houseofeliwedding.com. I also will post some other links in the description. My teacher's page, teacher's website, that will be there as well. The website, houseofeliwedding.com, if you live in Barbados and you're looking for someone to assist you in your wedding decor, all of these things will be posted. So thank you for watching this video. It was great talking to you, and I'm so happy to be able to sit and chit chat. So see you next time. See you in the next video. Bye bye.